One of the things we want to do is actually add some census data to our 2010 census tract shapefile. So you'll go to the main Census Bureau webpage, and at the top you'll see these main menus, and put the cursor over Data and do American Fact Finder. And then the first thing I like to do is select my geographies, since we're going to be trying to get data at the census tract level. And if you're on list, you can scroll through the drop down. I often just click on name and then scroll down until I get to census tract. And then you can download census tracts for particular states. So let's just start with Colorado and hit add. It might take a long time if you try to get census tracts from multiple states at a time. So now once you finish selecting the ones you want, you'll notice that your selections go up here into the sort of criteria box. You can hit close here on this, and then go to topics here on the left and data set. And here we're going to choose the data set, and we're going to use the 2010 ACS 5-year estimates. ACS stands for American Community Survey. It's a survey of about 250,000 people done each year by the Census Bureau on a lot of variables. It's kind of the equivalent of the long-form census that used to be done every 10 years. They stopped doing that. So instead what they do is they aggregate American Community Survey data over multiple years, and that allows them to build up a large enough sample that they can create estimates all the way down to the census tract level. So we're going to just click on that and then close that option. And then now we want to go through and select our variables, and I already kind of know where some of them are. So on page 4, for example, here's Hispanic or Latino origin by race. It's B03002. Again, that's page 4. And then I'm going to scroll through and find some others. So I'm going to pause it while I do that. Here's one called Nativity in the United States. You can see it just gives you an estimate of the total population in census tract, and then broken down by native or foreign born. So I'm going to select that one. That is on page 5. Let me pause while I find another one. Here's another one that's rather familiar. Poverty status in the past 12 months by sex and by age. If I open that up, you'll see that it tells us a total number of people we know the poverty status of, an estimate, and then the number of those will be those below poverty. And then we can ignore all the other breakdown by gender and age. So we'll go ahead and select that one. That's on page 13, B17001. And then let's keep going real quick. I think on page 16, we see median household income in the past 12 months, inflation adjusted dollars. So we'll select that. So you've got your 4 variables for now. We can certainly do more, but this will get us started. And do download. And here it's going to download 4 different Excel files, one for each variable that we selected. And we'll hit OK. And it's going to build your zip file. And sometimes that can take a while, sometimes it happens quickly. If it takes more than 5 minutes, you might want to cancel and try to do it again. It works best to do it in off-peak hours. So we'll just go ahead and hit download, and you'll start to download a zip file. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to clean this up real quick. So we'll open up the zip file. You can see that there are 4 Excel files in here, one for each variable. And I just start with the first one. Open it up, and got to know how to clean it up real quick. This first GeoID is not the one we want. You'll see that it includes the US and whatnot. So we'll just right-click, delete that. But we do want to keep this second one. Looks very similar to that FIPS code that you're familiar with. And then we can get rid of this column here. Here's, again, we're dealing with race and ethnicity here, and remember the first total thing is just pop tot. It's the total estimate of the population in each tract. Gives us the margin of error. I'm not interested in that. Gives me the number of who are not Hispanic. I don't want that. I want to get all the way over to white non-Hispanic. So you can see that it's the not Hispanic section and then white alone, and that's an estimate. So I can see white NH there. And it gives me a margin of that. And then we got black non-Hispanic. And then I scroll over and I can see Asian non-Hispanic. And then if I keep going, I will see, you can see where Hispanic starts, and that's our estimate. So that becomes Latino. And you can decide which ones you want to keep. Obviously varies by city. Sometimes you'll want to keep American Indian, other kinds of statuses, but for right now we'll just get rid of all these. Get rid of all those margin of error ones we don't need. So you're left with pop tote, white NH, black NH, Asian NH, and Latino. And we can get rid of all these others. And the other thing we can do is get rid of all these excess rows at the top. And name this little join ID. Okay. So, well, then we'll go back to our AFF download and get our second one. And these are going to be all in the same order, so we all we need to do is do native and foreborn. We can get rid of margins of error. And if we want to keep pop tote NF, it should be the same as pop tote, but we'll leave that as is for right now. We don't need any of those. All we need to do is clean it up like this, and then what we'll do is just highlight those three columns, right click copy, go back and paste them in our original, and then we can actually close down that second one and go back to our zip file, open up the third one, and again this is the one that shows poverty. This is the POV stat one, the very first total. Gives you a margin of error, and then it gives you the one where the income is below the poverty level, and that's POV below. And we can get rid of everything else. Get rid of that one. We don't need to delete this because all I want to do is grab these first two columns, copy them, go back to our main Excel file, and we can close the poverty one, and then get our last median household income. There's the estimate, MHI, these top rows, copy that over. Oops. Now I want to name this something short and sweet, like ACS 2010, 5-year, something like that. And then we'll file save as this Excel file, and we will save it to whatever folder you are saving your projects to. And you'll save it as an Excel 9703 workbook, and we can call this CO tract send 10. Let that save, and close down your Excel file. And that one as well. And the other thing you want to do is perhaps you want to extract all your files and save them somewhere, because you might want to end up going back and getting more of the race categories or something like that. That's how you download census data. So what you would do then is go ahead and go back to your GIS, and there's your Excel file. So it's right there, and you have to double click to get into the Excel file to get to that sheet. Go ahead and add that. And then let me get rid of some of this other stuff I had in here before. So what you'll notice again is here's your census data. It's got the join ID, and if we look at the attribute table of your shapefile, you see that GOID 10 has the same number, but it's got zeros in front of it. One of the things we're going to need to do is basically replicate this GOID 10 and make sure it's a number so that we can join it with our join ID number. So what we're going to have to do in this open attribute table is add a field, and this one I like to call FIPS because it's kind of what I'm used to. Set it to double, and scroll across, there it is. And I'll just do a normal left click on it, and then right click, field calculator, where FIPS is going to equal GOID 10, and let's hit OK. And it'll calculate those really quick. And you'll see that it basically replicated them, but it took that first 0 off. So you can now use FIPS and join ID to match up the data. So again, whenever you want to join data, you'll just right-click on your shapefile and joins and relates, and join from another table. You want to use your FIPS that you just created. It's already reading my data, join ID, and you hit OK. And you can always make sure it's there. Everything looks good. One of the things I always like to do after I join census data is to right-click and data export the data. It bakes it in there, make sure that if you do other things that it doesn't get lost. So this becomes CO tracks B for bake. And when that's done, you can go ahead and add it, and you can get rid of all the old ingredients. And it's looking a little haggard, but there you go. So that's how you can download census data, clean it up, and bring it in, join it, and bake it.